Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this exciting webinar, Journeys That Matter. This is an introduction to Servion's new CX framework. My name is Selva and I'll be your host for today's session. Now, before we get started, just a few quick housekeeping notes. All participants will be muted during the webinar. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat panel. We'll take up those questions at the end of the session. We've got a separate session for the Q&As. We'll do that during that time. And this webinar is going to be recorded and it'll be circulated after the webinar. Okay, before we get started, just a quick background on this webinar and what's it all about. At Servion, we believe that every customer interaction should be intelligent and should achieve the desired outcome. And that's all about what we're going to cover today. As existing clients, you'll be the first to discover all about this new framework that we're going to talk about today and why those journeys actually matter to your customers. Now, these are journeys that drive loyalty, resolve issues faster, and exceed expectations. And I'm thrilled to introduce our CEO, Bryce Gibson, to kick off things with this webinar.
All right, excellent. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think everyone that's on is probably afternoon or evening, but as Selva mentioned, we're recording. So if you're watching this after the fact, perhaps it's morning, your time. For those of you joining us live, thank you. I sincerely appreciate your time today. I know we're all busy. It's incredibly important. As Selva mentioned, my name is Bryce Gibson. I am the CEO here at Servion. I just joined the company back in January. And so just crossing about 6 months here with the organization. So January 1st was actually my first day. And although I'm only crossing 6 months here, I've been in the industry a bit longer than I probably even care to admit out loud. So I'm not going to put a number on that. And the team here has gotten to know me pretty quickly and has a good sense of my passion for customer experience. And so I get a bit excited and I tend to ramble on. And so right now, I think we're scheduled for an hour. The team has put the over under on how long I talk at about 37 and a half minutes. And so go ahead, place your bets now. You have about 30 seconds to lock them in before we start tracking things. But I think it's incredibly important for you all to know a little bit about me, by my background, the way that I like to work. And I'll just say this, I'm incredibly transparent. And I really welcome the opportunity to sit down face to face or over the phone or by video with each and every one of you to learn more about your business and about your experience working with Servion and what we can do differently, perhaps better, to help you meet your needs. So as I mentioned, I started on January 1st. On January 3rd, I got on a plane and I started some rounds to meet with the team. And we actually launched a project here that we called Project Horizon. And Project Horizon was all about looking forward to the future and where the market is going, where Servion is now, where we want to go, how we want to be known, how we want to be remembered, what kind of emotion do we want our clients to feel when they talk about their experience working with us. And so that was incredibly valuable. And we found a couple of points of commonality in terms of the philosophy that we wanted to bring to the market. And the first is that, first and foremost, above all else, human connections are still the most powerful force in business. And secondly, that human connection should be strengthened by technology, not necessarily replaced by technology. Okay. And as we looked at the landscape overall, I think we all found, and I'm sure you would agree, it's a challenging time. There's this paradox of choice and velocity in the space right now, and it's incredibly challenging to manage. And our commitment is to be here for you to help you navigate that. And during this Project Horizon and the subsequent meetings that we had, we talked a lot about journeys. And at our kickoff, our corporate kickoff earlier this year, I shared my thoughts on journeys with the team. And first, there's a couple of things that you have to know before you start a journey. Number one, I think you have to know where you are. And we talked about Servion and where we were. And we have a very strong reputation, but I think it's largely tied to, maybe some premise-based and perhaps even just Cisco-focused or Cisco-centric technologies and capabilities. And in fact, we're more than that. We're bigger than that. And so we had a real strong heart-to-heart around, what is it that we're good at? What are we known for? And what are the things that we're also good at that we're not known for? And so that sparked a journey for us to refresh our brand and our image in the market. And that journey has actually already begun. And so earlier this morning, our updated website went live. I strongly encourage and welcome you all to take a look at that. You'll see a lot more information about other things we do. We spent some time kind of categorizing our partnerships that we have. And so we have platform partners like Cisco, like Genesys, NICE, Amazon. We have innovation partners like Parloa, Incuba, Verint, and others. And so you'll see more information about those partnerships that we have. You're going to hear more about those partnerships that we have today while we chat. So thank you again for being here. As I said, that whole concept of we're on a new journey or the next journey, and that journey has already begun. That's what today is about. It's about sharing that with you. As we went through kind of that mapping exercise and talked about where we were, we found that incredibly helpful. So I thought maybe I'll start this session by looking at where is the state of CX today and some important metrics or statistics that might be good for us to know. And I would say this, look, more and more of us are acknowledging the fact that we're going to have to compete based on experience. And if you look at that third box there, right, we're still challenged to deliver a cohesive experience across channels. Almost 9 out of 10 of us say it's important, we're going to have to compete on it, and almost 8 out of 10 of us say we're still not very good at it. AI can help us fix this, there's no doubt. But you have to be incredibly careful about the manner in which you execute the deployment and the ongoing care and feeding of those AI solutions in order to be able to get the most benefit from it. So I'm going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to kind of come back to this 56% of customers that will leave quietly due to a poor experience. And I'll talk about that a bit more, but there's some other stats that aren't showing up here that I do want to talk about, okay? And that's the fact that in general, the stakes are incredibly high. Okay, that's the main point I'd like you to take away from this slide is the stakes are high, and you probably already knew that. But there's a challenge with some of the metrics that I think we all have been using to guide our thinking around whether or not we're successful in the way that we're delivering customer experience to our clients. And this is around, I'm gonna use NPS specifically. I'm gonna pick on NPS a little bit. But you could fill in the blank with CSAT surveys or others, right? But there's some interesting stats about where the market is going specific to NPS. And I think it's lost a little bit of its shine. And why is that? I think it's because we were all sold on the fact that NPS is the one question that you have to ask. It's the one thing that if you can get a customer to tell you whether or not they'd recommend you, then you would know. You'd know how you were doing and you'd know how your business was going to be trending, but there's some problems with it. NPS and CSAT both are lagging indicators. They're lagging metrics. They're not forward looking. And so that's a bit challenging. Right? And if you've ever run an NPS program, number one, you know that response rates tend to be low. Number two, if you get a low score from someone, you'll spend months trying to chase them down to get them to actually tell you why and what happened and how you could make that better. I used to run an NPS program myself personally. We broke our customer base in half. And we did a January survey and we did a July survey. And I can tell you every day in between was spent trying to chase those clients who gave us less than a positive rating to figure out what was it that went wrong. And remember, I said the stakes are incredibly high and 56% of clients or customers will quietly leave you. This is the other problem with NPS and CSAT. Only about 1 out of every 26 customers that you're doing business today with are going to tell you if they had a bad experience. 1 in 26, not very good. The second point that I want to make is they'll only give you about 2 chances after a bad experience before they quietly leave your brand. Most customers will leave after the second or third bad experience. Statistically, it works out to about 2.2 before they will quietly leave. So only 1 in 26 will tell you when there's a problem, and they'll leave after 2 or 3 bad experiences. That whole middle, right? I call it the messy middle. They're the most at risk, right? Because they'll leave. They haven't told us that they're frustrated. And again, kind of the problem with NPS and with CSAT surveys, only the super happy and only the super, super upset will take the time to answer that. Okay. And so you're left with that messy middle. And what do you do? And how do you get to the bottom of what's going on there? So the question is, what's a better way? We think we have a better way. We're shifting to more of an outcome-based focus and approach. And you're going to hear more about that from the team that I have with me today as they talk about some of the things that we're launching and announcing. But I'm really excited about the difference that I think this will make in your business. The other thing is we hear a lot about AI. I'm sure most of you are probably sick of it. Gartner just had a big conference they did with about, I believe it was about 3,400 attendees, and they did a quick informal poll and said, of the AI initiatives that you have underway today, how many of those initiatives are at risk to be canceled? And the response was overwhelming. Nearly 40% of those initiatives are at risk. Why? Because they're having a difficult time actually generating an ROI tied to that. And we've got examples that we've all heard about, right? A little over a year ago, Klarna made a huge splash in the press. They were firing 700 agents. And they were going to replace them all with agentic AI bots. And those bots were going to do the work of 700 people. And lo and behold, about 3 months ago, they came back out. And I apologize, I've got to lean in. I want to read this, right? But this is the exact post from the CEO of Klarna. We just had an epiphany. In a world of AI, nothing will be as valuable as humans. Okay, you can laugh at us for realizing it too late or so late, but we are going to kick off work to allow Klarna to become the best at offering a human to speak to. All right. And they're not alone. I'm not picking on Klarna. There's other examples, right? IBM had a similar example on a grander scale. And I think there is a pattern that is starting to emerge. Okay. And that pattern is kind of underpinned by three things that really AI doesn't do very well yet. Okay. It doesn't yet fully anticipate your customers' needs. And you'll notice on these, we say yet. I do think it will get there. It's just not there today. It can't personalize those experiences very well. It doesn't do a great job at demonstrating empathy, genuine empathy for the customer situation. And it doesn't really intervene appropriately at the right moments that matter yet. Okay. Gartner sums it up. They say generative AI alone won't improve your customer experience. In fact, it can worsen it without journey orchestration to anchor it in customer behavior. That's incredibly important. And there is a pattern that I've noticed, maybe you're seeing it as well, right? We tend to overreach with AI. When you hear about these large initiatives that are going on, they tend to overreach, they tend to underdeliver. We find out what the gaps are, and then we go back, we backtrack, and we either rehire or retrain people to fill in those gaps. And I would submit to you that's a very expensive way to test drive AI in your customer experience center with your customers. I think we have a better way. I think we have a better approach to leverage. And that's what we're going to talk about with the new updated offers that you're going to hear about today as well. Okay. So with that, I think you all can appreciate none of this happens without having a phenomenal team behind you. And I just want to take a brief moment and show you some faces and names of some of the people that you might be interacting with here in North America. Not all of these team members are here with me today to talk to you, but many of them are, or at least some of them are. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to read their names and describe their roles and tell you about their background. For those members that are speaking, I'll ask you to please take a few moments, introduce yourself, share a couple of tidbits about your background and your experience, and maybe even why you decided to join Servion, if you're comfortable doing so. I think that would be incredibly helpful. But with that, I will ask Bruce to join me. He's actually in the room sitting next to me here. So Bruce is going to slide over and start talking about our JourneyWorks framework, which I'm incredibly excited about. I think it's going to be a game changer in terms of the way that we can help you orchestrate journeys, fix journeys that are broken today with a demonstrable ROI that you're going to be able to take to your leadership. It's going to make you look phenomenal in front of your leaders. Your employees are going to appreciate it as well. So I'm not going to take any more Bruce's thunder. I'm going to slide out of the way. Bruce, take it away.
Thanks, Bryce. Thanks very much, and great to be here. Just a little bit about myself. I joined July 1st, and though I had been working with Servion for some time, really loved the company. And with Bryce coming on board, it just seemed like a great opportunity to get back into the customer experience space. You might know that I spent a long time at Genesis and at Voice Genie and other companies and supporting them. So I'm very excited to be back fully in the CX space and working specifically for Servion. And I'm very excited about the journey we're on. But before I do that, I thought I'd make it really clear that the journey we're on isn't let going from the journey that we have been on and have been delivering to you. One of the things that really got me interested in Servion is the quality of delivery that Servion has been able to deliver. I've worked with Servion way back to my days in APAC and in Singapore and also in North America. So I knew Servion very well. But the things that Servion has been delivering will continue to deliver, like our migration services, our upgrade, our break fix, our managed services. So everything that you've come to expect from Servion will stay. And then we're layering on top of that some new capabilities, which we think will be useful to you. And just a quick aside on that, because as I mentioned, July 1st, I started. In the first week, our head of sales, Tony, forwarded me an email from a client that had just deployed and just migrated their estate into a cloud platform. And the feedback was extremely glowing. It was a partnership between our CCaaS OEM vendor, ourselves, and our client. But I got to tell you, to receive that note was really meant a lot to me, having just joined. But I can tell you the team that executed that, I had nothing to do with it, frankly. But the team that executed on that, it meant a lot to them. So if you're out there, we really appreciate it. And it really makes us feel good. So point is, that stays. But on top of that, we have the JourneyWorks signature CX execution framework. That is what leverages our deep experience in CX integration, along with our deep understanding of the big CCaaS platforms like Genesis and Cisco, but also keeping our eyes open for those new interesting partners that can add value to you and ultimately help you deliver better service to your clients. And those are partners like Parloa and Incuba. And of course, Varen has been around a long time, but they have some really cool technology that we've incorporated. So our idea is to be the integrator of this tech and also have our eyes wide open on what's out there. So, and our philosophy that we've all embraced is it's about where journeys get done. So that's really ultimately what we are here to do. And I mean yourselves as well, is to help deliver great journeys for your customers. How we differentiate ourselves, as Bryce said, I've been an advocate of NPS and CSAT for a long time. I actually love customer effort score as well. It was more impactful in some respects. But more importantly now is to deliver on the ROI of CX for your business, but also to really look at the outcomes of those journeys for your clients. As Bryce mentioned, a survey that comes after a generally successful journey through a service, you're going to get a report that's frankly not actionable. So our point is, as Bryce said, NPS doesn't go away, but it's a trailing indicator of what we could have been doing to help. So our way of differentiating going forward is to focus on those journey outcomes, to provide you with great insights on where those journeys are falling down and not delivering for your clients or your consumers, and then some great tech to help you intervene in that moment to get that customer back on the happy path. And where appropriate, using AI to support that journey. And we do believe that AI will be a game changer, but what we're focused on is where should we deploy it, where it's going to add value. If you do these things, then you can get some great results. And we have clients that are experiencing a 30 to 45% improvement in their onboarding process. So I always think as a marketeer, how much money you spend trying to get somebody to your site, for them not to convert and use your service is obviously a disappointment for everybody, including them. So if you are able to intervene and really understand that journey, you can lift those onboarding. And the same thing is for customer success and customer support that they're getting, and they're not quietly leaving, as Bryce mentioned. So we just don't measure the experience, but we fix it and we fix it one journey at a time. And I'll say, finally, we want to do this at pace. We will continue to be involved in these large migration of services that are essential for you, we know. But where we can, to do small projects that provide an incremental benefit at pace, we want to help and cooperate and partner with you on those. And you'll see the way we're going to market is, I'll expand on that. How we try and differentiate, and I love this slogan, from friction to flow. So we want your consumers to experience flow in their experiences with you. And the way we do that is first with our execution first framework. So that's our framework to deliver a capability around outcomes. The next is our strategic ecosystem integration. So we have where Servion would bring intellectual property to the table are those deep integrations with those various platforms and innovation technologies. And we know, let's put it this way, it's easy to say, it's harder to do. And having the knowledge of how those integrations work in detail, and that's why I think our team is so strong. That's been, frankly, our real secret sauce, is really understanding those integrations. That we're doubling down on. Supporting it with an AI-driven orchestration layer, and as importantly, our digital engineering. So this is a part of our business where we go and support some of our CCaaS platforms with product development engineering capabilities. So it's a great service for our OEM CCaaS vendors, but more importantly, it allows us to understand real, true, deep technical aspects of how that platform runs and operates. And that's why those IP integrations tend to be so successful. So digital engineering is an important part of our business. All of this allows us to deliver great outcomes for your business and for your consumers. So we're very much going to be focused on how we deliver outcomes for you and for your clients. In that respect, we have 4 offers that we're launching today, and I'm just going to focus on 2 of them, but the 4 are Discovery Launchpad. We'll dig into that one. Onboard Plus is how we help you get your customers onboarded. Voice IQ is how we bring, via our partner Perloa and other partners, an agentic AI experience. So this idea of bringing an AI agent into your agent pool. And then finally, Mike Pigg will talk about this Engage 360, which is really our managed service plus. He'll describe that in a second. I will deep dive into Discovery Launchpad. And so we named it on purpose, Discovery plus Launchpad. So what we want to do is first discover the environment that you're operating, that your clients are operating in. We do that a few ways. We have what's called a journey acceleration workshop, where we try and understand all those journeys with you and which ones are doing well, which ones are doing less well, which ones are more impactful, which ones are less so. So really trying to understand the journey environment that your clients live in. We do an AI agent lifecycle. So we look at the whole experience of your agents and where automation and AI technology could come to bear. We audit your voice services. So we look at those IVR trees. Where would an AI agent help? And maybe perhaps an ID&V. We look at the behavior of your clients. How are they reacting to the service you're delivering? And how can we support that? So, and in the moment, I think is most important. It's on the post-delivery service survey. It's in the moment. And then we'll deliver a LLM-ready bot. So in terms of outcomes we want to deliver is we'll help you with some really specific quick wins. One high-value journey. So we'll jointly pick that journey and we'll implement that journey. And we'll also be able to provide interventions within that journey to really show how nudging can help the outcomes for your clients. We'll launch an AI agent use case specifically, and then we'll build jointly a report to look at your service holistically with a business case and with some outcomes. So the point again, discovery, what's your environment? Launchpad, launch a couple offers quickly, get them into your environment and start delivering some ROI. So when that project goes up, not only do you have a plan, but you have some proof points. So that's our Discovery Launchpad offer. But to describe what we're doing on the client success side and our Engage 360 offer, I'm going to hand over to Mike Pittig, who's on the line. He's our VP of Client Success. Mike, you there?
Yes, thank you, Bruce. Incredible amount of information and updates to share from you and Bryce. And I have the joy in a day full of launches of continuing the excitement with 2 new announcements. But first, Bryce said kind of what brings you here. And I first got into the CX space probably 2 decades ago. And what has consistently been an area that brings me joy and passion is the intersection of our clients and technology. And that is absolutely what we're doing. And today's launch continues to reinforce that. And that's why I'm here and excited at the opportunities that are in front of us. I will be talking about the launch of client success as well as Engage 360. But let's start with client success. And really what drove this is a recognition by Servion that we could do a better job of serving our clients. We've got an incredible team in place today that you work with, whether it's sales, technical account managers, or support and delivery, but we still saw instances where we could improve the alignment. We need to have a better understanding of how the technology and our services are impacting your business. We are going to look to client success to stay more up to date on the trends in the industry, as well as what changes are happening to your strategy and your business. I want to be really clear. There's no changes to the current team. This is an add-on. This is an investment we are making. And so going forward, it will really be a triad of resources supporting you between the client success team, the technical account managers, and the account executives. Some of you in North America have already met either your client success manager or your client success executive. But ultimately, I think these 4 bullet points really sum it up. Every time we connect with you, we want to deliver an exceptional experience. We want to delight you. We want to very much be proactive in our engagement. And you're going to see these themes emerge when I talk about Engage 360 as well. We want to focus on the business value realization. How do we make you a hero inside your own organization? And together, we're going to achieve mutual success. So we'll talk more about client success in our interactions and our introductions, but given the time, Bruce, I think I'm going to shift to the new Engage 360. And if you've been a client of ours for years, you've heard us refer to this maybe as day 2 support, maybe as managed services. Neither one of those offerings really met the needs of our clients today, or only partially met the needs. And so we took a step back and said, what's happening in the industry across our partners at our clients? And we've really spent the last 6 months doing an in-depth analysis to relaunch the level of support and the type of support we provide to you. What's happening is that the move from on-prem to the cloud has revealed some really surprising realities. And our platform partners like Genesys and NICE and Cisco, they're going to tell you that when you move to the cloud, you don't need much support, especially from IT. Your servers are going away. Your infrastructure goes away. We'll take care of that. You don't need much from IT. They give the impression that it eases the burden on your organization. And quite frankly, that is not true. What we have seen, what we've experienced, what our own clients have experienced is that the burden is still there, but it's shifted to you and your team in the contact center, your end users, the business owners. And in the past, you would have partnered with IT on an upgrade and testing and training, but now that's gone and it's all on your team. And as Bryce said earlier, the rate of change is accelerating. And what used to be new features maybe every 6 months or every quarter, they're now coming monthly, they're coming weekly. And meanwhile, your team is saying, how do I do this? What do I need? How do I use it? And as a result, people are using a fraction of the overall capability of these platforms because there is so much change, so much opportunity, so many features and functionality. The journey platforms that we work with and their support models are not enough for you. They're motivated to make sure their own applications are running, but they're not looking at the entire ecosystem, and that creates a void. Engage 360 fills that gap, fills that void. And it's going to give you and your teams a true partner to make sure that you're maximizing your potential. But better yet, what we're excited about is the new Engage 360 gives a holistic view or a holistic optimization of your entire CX technology stack, ensuring that all of the systems are working together, whether it's the different applications, the integration between those applications. And at the end, the goal is to ensure that you can deliver a superior customer experience. So if we go to the next slide, Bruce, you'll see the format looks familiar. As Bruce talked about in the Discovery Plus Launchpad, the Engage 360 program will provide an elevated level of support, expertise, and client service. It's going beyond the OEMs like Genesys, NICE, and Cisco. And this, as I had mentioned earlier, reflects a full 6 months, really for most of 2025, we've been doing an internal reflection of what is needed. And that's what we're excited to launch today. It reflects our own conversations internally and discovery sessions, meetings with dozens of clients, best practices from outside the industry, including we've got technology in here and IP that didn't even exist a year ago. And that's what makes it so exciting from our side. We are motivated to make sure that you are satisfied, that you are adopting what you've purchased, you're seeing the value from your investments and driving true outcomes. All the while, as I talked earlier about client success, this will now be really the part of the group between the technical account managers, support, account executives, client success, all coming together under the Engage 360. So in my final slide, what I'd like to do, Bruce, is just highlight a couple of things that are new about this program. And probably what jumps out immediately is the fact that we've got 3 tiers. And the feedback from our clients is that we need to have options, and we need to know that there's a program that aligns with where we are today, but also where we want to grow with you in the future. And that's what you'll see with Basic, Enhanced, and Premium. We've kept the offers that are most valuable to you, including the unlimited response and the moves, adds, changes, and the access to our technical experts. But we've enhanced or sweetened this with additional audits and more training and proactive monitoring, which is something that we talked a little bit earlier about, while adding client success and some just fun new items like the ability to get ticket sponsoring for events, discounts on professional services, or even connect with our new CEO, Bryce Gibson. Later this year, I'm also looking forward to the launch of our client advisory board. More details will be coming on that. But if you're a current client of ours, just know that when you are approaching your renewal date, our client success team will work with you to map where you are today with the current support model into one of these 3 tiers. And you'll also have the option, if you see something that you're interested in, to even move from one, move up a level or 2, if that's something that you'd like to pursue. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to share 2 new exciting launches, and I will hand it back over to Bryce.
All right, thanks, Mike. I don't know that you necessarily have to pay extra dollars to be able to reach out to me. In fact, look, one of the final slides we've got has my contact information. I would love to hear from you personally. I'd love to sit down face to face on the phone or on a video call. I would love to get your feedback about your experience working with and leveraging the team here at Servion. What have you enjoyed about that? What do you wish we did more or different? What do you think about this refresh of our brand and the offers that we put together? So please don't feel like you can't reach out for any reason. But I appreciate the creativity, Mike. Nicely done. All right, look, I've been taking some notes as we've been talking, and if I were to kind of summarize today, I would start with embrace AI, but do so wisely. What do I mean by that? Number 1, start small. Number 2, iterate frequently. Okay, it's okay to start small, iterate frequently. You can grow it from there. Number 3, test, test, test. We didn't really talk about it much here, and quite frankly, when you listen to other people talk about AI in the market and its potential, you don't hear a lot about the kind of testing that is really appropriate to leverage in order to be able to ensure that you're driving the outcomes and the journeys, quite frankly, that you want. We have the tools and the expertise to be able to help you with that. Number 4, I would say apply AI in a human-centric manner. Don't lose the human touch where it matters most. That's incredibly important. Another way to think about it would be, train your agentic bots the way you would train a human agent. Start with a job description. Tell them how you want them to work. How do you want them to communicate with your customers? What can they do? Just as importantly, maybe more importantly in an agentic world, what can't they do? Okay, what shouldn't that bot try to tackle? So I would start there. Omni-channel and effortless experiences. Look, you remember going back to that slide, 77% of us still struggle to deliver a cohesive experience. This right here is why we created Discovery Launchpad. We have the ability to apply AI to help identify those breakpoints those points of friction between silos within your organization, and we can help you fix those in a programmatic and systematic fashion. And that's what's important here. Number 3 on this list, make sure you're looking at and tracking the metrics that matter. You don't have to throw away NPS. You don't have to throw away CSAT, but you do need to layer on some leading indicators of success that are showing progress towards your goals and objectives, and help us understand specifically what are the metrics that you're being measured by, and we will help you in achieving those objectives. We will help fix those broken journeys that are holding you back or that are holding that NPS score back, as an example. Next point that I would make is, look, I didn't talk about this before, but we talked about how important and how vital this battle is between competing on experience, delivering experience. It's a challenge. But if you do it right, 3 out of 4 of your customers and consumers are willing to pay more for that good experience than a so-so experience. Okay. So it's not all downside. There's upside potential here as well. Don't forget about your employees, please. The employee experience is just as important as your customer or consumer experience is. Happy, empowered, engaged employees create happy customers. I firmly believe that. And finally, I'll just close with this. Look, our commitment to you, my commitment to you, is that we will continue to evolve ourselves here at Servion so that we can help you continuously transform the customer experience you deliver to those people that matter most to you. Those are your customers and your consumers. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is we succeed when you succeed. And we're here to help you be as successful as possible. So with that, I know, wait, there's more. Look, if you go to our website, you're going to see a pretty phenomenal offer around Discovery Launchpad. And we're offering that as a pretty strong discount to all of our clients and prospects. But for those of you who have taken the time to sit with us and hear more about where we're going and the journey that we're on now, I have an even better offer for you. And look, this is not even covering our costs. So that's why I'm limiting this to the first 3 clients that take us up on this. But we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're willing to make this investment in you. This offer is only available to our existing clients. So if you're interested, if you want to hear more, please reach out to your account executive, your customer success executive. Please feel free to reach out to myself as well directly. I would love and welcome that conversation. So please, for the first 3 that take us up on this offer, it's an incredible discount. It's well over 6 figures retail price on that. So great. As I promised, my contact information is here. You can reach out. And for those of you joining us live, your mugs are in the mail. And if they're not, they will be very shortly. So you can look forward to receiving those. And I know Selva has been monitoring the chat window, looking for any questions that you may have. So Selva, I will turn it over to you, and we can use the last 8 minutes or so to maybe answer some questions.
So there are a few questions that have come in through the chat panel. So we'll take up those. And for those that are not covered during the session today, our client success team will follow up and we'll make sure that we have sorted all of that. The first question is, are the traditional Servion services going away?
Yeah, great question. And I think Bruce addressed that, but just to clarify, no. The services that you have known Servion for, that you've come to love us and appreciate us for, those are not going away. Everything that we're talking about today is additive.
The next question is, why can't your agentic AI service be on one of the AI solutions that Gartner's will go away? So there's a stat that says agentic AI solutions, 40% of it is going to go away. I think that's where they're coming from. Why can't?
I think I'm tracking Selva. I think there's a couple of things that I would say in response to that. The primary reason for those initiatives being at risk to be shuttered is because they're not demonstrating ROI. And so, number one, our entire focus and approach is outcome based. It's ROI driven. And it's part of the reason why we recommend starting small, iterating often, testing frequently, et cetera. Those things that I talked about, right? The other thing is we have partnered with some folks that take a different kind of approach to AI and the deployment of AI. And I hinted at that a bit earlier when I was talking about deploy AI in a human-centric fashion. And that revolves around training your AI bots just like you would a human agent. So start with a job description. Tell them what kind of voice you want them to use in terms of tone and whatnot when they're dealing with your customers and consumers. Tell the bot, what they can do and what they can't do. And look, I think sometimes folks have a tendency to try to take one agentic bot and have that bot handle a complete workflow from start to finish. And we would suggest a different approach. Break that workflow down into much smaller components and segments. You can get more specific with the bots and have the bots work together. But don't forget to maintain the ability to create that human touch, that human connection, human to human, right? Not a replicated interaction, but human to human, basically at will for your customers and your consumers. If you do those things, and we're happy to help you with that, we're confident that you'll see an ROI, and we're confident that those AI projects that we work on together will not only go from start to finish, but they'll also, you'll want to grow those and expand those over time.
The next question that's come up is, how does JourneyWorks integrate with platforms like Genesis, Nice, or Parent?
Yeah, so JourneyWorks is built basically as a set of modules that our team can deliver, and they're very tightly integrated with those other platform partners that we have. And because they're modular, it gives us the ability to swap certain things out, and we can still, as part of that offer, we can swap different modules in and out in order to be able to deliver that platform specific. And this session today is we're focused on our North American base, but it also gives us the ability to use other technologies in other regions that might not be applicable in North America, or technology in North America that's not yet accessible or accepted in other parts of the world. All right, Selva, I think in honor of everyone's time and to make sure that I fall on the under of that 37.5 minutes, I think we should call it a day. But again, I want to sincerely thank you all for your time. I do hope that you reach out. I would love to have a conversation again, face to face, over the phone, or by video at your convenience. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you all.